Hi, this is David Pollard for the Covenant of Unitarian Universalist Pagans, otherwise known as CUUPS. And we'd like to tell you about this wonderful opportunity that we've got and how you can help us with it. A couple of years ago, the Church of the Larger Fellowship, which is the largest church in the Unitarian Universalist Association with over 3,000 members, approached us. Several hundred of their members are actually people who are in prison. And they had about 75 folks at that time who followed an earth-centered path, and they didn't really have resources to address their specific spiritual needs. So first we tried sending them our regular CUUPS bulletin, and that didn't really work very well because it's mostly involves a lot of internet links, and since those folks don't have access to the internet, we found that we had to create a special newsletter just for them. And we've done that over the last year, and it's actually worked out quite well. In fact, that little subgroup has now grown from 75 to about 90 people. But we want to expand it beyond that, to pagan prisoners who aren't involved in the Church of the Larger Fellowship. And for that, we need your help. What we have is a coordinator for prison ministry services, Reverend Landon, who was in charge of getting the newsletter together in the first place, and now is going to be in charge of expanding this out. And we're going to be basically doing two things. One is a grant request of the UU funding program for her salary support for a quarter-time position, and then for the actual physical items and the professional fees and dues that are involved with this, we're coming to you. Now, a little bit about Reverend Landon. She has been around for quite a while. She was ordained as a high priestess of the Temple of the Pagan Way in Chicago back in 1972. And then in the 80s, she discovered Unitarian Universalism and got her AM degree from the Divinity School at the University of Chicago in '89, and then received her DMin from Meadville Lombard Theological School, which is a Unitarian Universalist seminary, in 1990. Since then, she has served as an interim minister in congregations in 3 states, Wyoming, Minnesota, and Ohio. In the last few years, she's been in active status with the UU Ministers Association due to health problems, but those have mostly stabilized, but she is having some limitations with arthritis and stuff like that, so part of the funding from this will be going to assistive technologies to help her do her work better. And what those items are that we're looking for help with is, first of all, Dragon Dictate, which is a wireless speech-to-text interface for a computer. Also to get her a better monitor, a webcam, and also then professional dues for the UU Ministers Association and the Society of Community Ministers, which the UU Society for Community Ministry, which is where the other prison ministry folks in the UUA hang out. And then the next $1,000 beyond that would go specifically to the mailing she does of the newsletter, because you've got to print them out and then you've got to mail them. And at 8 issues a year, we're finding that it's costing us about $10 per person. So that would expand it from the just under 100 where we are right now to close to 200. And then that would be the $1,650 that we've set as our target. Now, should we surpass that, the next couple $100 would be for professional expenses for Krista, which would be sort of like journals and stuff like that, so that she can be in communication with other professionals in the prison chaplaincy business, so that she can find out what other folks are doing to help coordinate things within CUUPS and just be able to better serve the folks that are involved in this ministry. And then anything after that, we're going to be expanding, trying to send out more newsletters to more prisoners, because there is a huge need for this. There have been surveys taken that show that about 3% of prisoners right now consider themselves pagan or earth-centered. And considering that the entire U.S. population of prisoners is topping 2 million at this point, means that there's 60,000 pagan prisoners. And wardens and prison chaplains will tell you up front that they have a huge shortage of any type of chaplain or ministry within within prisons that aren't Protestant. You know, whether that is by design or by accident, well, you can have a pretty good discussion on that. But either way, that is the case on the ground. And we want to be able to get services to pagan prisoners where it is possible. Because right now, you know, a lot of that 3% are folks that have, I guess you'd say, converted or found out about paganism in prison. So they don't have experience of going to circles and participating in classes and stuff like that from before they went to prison. So basically they have their own imaginations, whatever movies they see, and whatever they hear from other prisoners, which isn't necessarily the greatest source to find out about paganism. And we want to try to fill that vacuum with good information. So please consider helping us out. We have several different donation levels. If you throw in for $20, we'll be glad to send you out a PDF of an email of the newsletter. And it'll be sent out a couple weeks after the prisoners have gotten it. If you do at a higher level, say $100, we'll mail you an actual newsletter. At $250, one of the things that Krista wants to do if she gets the grant funding for salary support is to be able to write religious education classes specifically geared toward this population. And at that higher level, we would go ahead and get those out to you. And then if you're someone who is able to satisfy this grant in one fell swoop of $1,650, we'll give you all of those and a lifetime membership in CUUPS. So thank you for listening to this. This is the sort of thing that CUUPS does very rarely. We've never done an Indiegogo request before, and the last time we sent out an appeal to our membership for funds beyond regular dues, it's probably been about 10 years. But we felt that this was just too great of an opportunity to pass up. So thank you for your time, and best of blessings to you.